Hey, what is up, my yoga fam? It's Ben here, and today I'm glad you joined me because we're going through a really mellow stretching sequence. So, we're not gonna move a whole lot. We're gonna stay close to the ground in this session. We're gonna hold each stretch for a couple minutes and we're gonna feel into the muscle fibers. We're gonna feel into the lengthening of our tissue and we're going to allow ourselves to breathe. So if you're trying to do some power yoga and burn 1,000 calories, this session is not for you. Maybe one of the other yoga classes that I made is. This is for if you just want to stretch out the body and relieve tension out of your system. So let's go ahead and get started. This is about to be so beautiful and calming. We'll start in a wide-legged seated position. So open your legs out wide, close your eyes, and start swaying yourself around. Actually, I forgot to light my incense, so I'm gonna go ahead and light my incense because you know the vibes around here. And so in this wide-legged fold, just allow yourself to sway. Allow yourself to find some movement. And if you're like me, then just sitting here will be pretty sensational. Just sitting upright in this fold, I can already feel quite the deep stretch into my inner hamstrings and hips. And then me swaying around and moving just kind of gets rid of a little bit of that first layer of tightness in the body. So we're not worried about folding all the way down or pancaking ourselves, you know, we're just using movement to create space. At the same time, notice how you're breathing. Allow your breath to set the tone. So, of course, if we're breathing all tight and choppy and constricted, then that's probably how the physical body's gonna feel. But if we can breathe nice and slow and full and deep and thorough and connected, then that's probably how our body's gonna feel. And I don't know about you, but the second version sounds a little bit better. So I'm gonna try my best to just breathe nice and fully. Keep swaying around, let it be nice and mellow here for another 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sit up. Bring the legs in, cross the legs. And then same thing, I'm actually just gonna go ahead and fold forward because I'm not so mobile in this kind of position, but if you'd like to sway around here, feel free. What's nice about this transition is that our legs are in completely different styles of rotation than they just were. So even though we're still in a seated fold, we're getting into different parts of the body. For me, I feel this deeply in my outer hips, almost like a half pigeon. Allow the spine to round. And again, I'm usually going to recommend or offer the closing of the eyelids and the slowing down of the breath because that's just the vibe we're going for. Allow yourself to have an introverted experience every time we land in a new stretch. And we'll start to sit up. Paschimottanasana, the classic regular seated fold. You can bend the knees as much as you want here. You can slide a cushion under your knees. You can put a cushion underneath your legs. And then we'll fold forward. And as I've noted in another one of my recent classes, I don't have any props up here because I want these classes to feel available to anyone who just has a mat or a towel or nothing else. But if you have props like a bolster or blocks and stuff like that, by all means, please use them because I think they provide so many benefits. I usually use a lot of props in my practice, but again, for these videos, I want them to just feel available to anybody. So that's why I'm not going to directly cue to any props because the best thing about yoga, or one of the best things about yoga for me, is that you don't need nothing. All you need is yourself and an open mind. Relax the shoulders into your fold. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. Release even more tension from the body. Good. Start to sit up, and then we're rotating ourselves into a 90-90 shape, or what's known as deer pose. So the right leg comes around in front, the left leg is around in back. And so what we have here is some nice deep external rotation in the front leg, some nice deep internal rotation at the hip. I should have specified at the hip. In the left leg, internally rotating. So both legs are getting quite the different stretch, and we're gonna first focus on the left leg and then focus on the right leg. So I like to use my hands down, kind of straddling my right leg for support. And then the right leg stays kind of still. And then I'd like to invite us to just kind of start peeling the left knee up off the mat and then closing it back down. And so this is a kind of deep mobility movement. And for you, this might just feel like barely picking the left knee up and dropping it down. And that's okay, because sometimes we have to start at kind of the more outer layers of creating space before we can work into the deeper layers of tension. But wherever you're at, just kind of opening and closing in the left leg. Another variation to that, if you're not trying to really find all that movement, is just to walk the hands back behind you. And as you walk the hands back, that'll bring the stretch away from the right leg and then deeper into the left leg, specifically the left hip. And then you can even try that again. Maybe there's a little bit more space here to just peel open the left knee and then drop it back down. It's an odd movement, and honestly, if this feels odd to you, it's because it's very uncommon for the average human to do this. But it's very juicy for the hip to really move through this internal rotation. Anyways, we're about at the finish line for this, and we'll release and then take it over to the right leg, and then nothing fancy here, we'll just fold forward. And so maybe it feels nice to have a deep bend in your left knee. You're welcome to extend the left leg back behind you into a half pigeon. I don't really think I'm gonna mess with that today because my hips feel tight. What I don't want to really see you do is to extend back into a half pigeon and then do one of these where like your angle is all the way closed off on the right leg and then your right hip starts to peel up off the mat. It might feel okay now, but that's sort of asking for knee pain or knee injuries down the line because your body's not on a level playing field. That's why I recommend keeping the right hip, right knee, and right ankle all down on the mat on the same plane as we move through these deep stretches. But you're always in charge, so don't let me tell you what to do. Always just listen to your body. As you find a fold forward, relax into it. Take a few breaths. We have a little bit more time here. Soften into the shoulders. Feel the arms just release. Feel the jaw unclench. Maybe after we've been here for a little bit, you can start to get deeper, start to extend the left leg further back behind you. We'll have maybe another 5 breaths here. We'll start to lift up and release. And then we'll switch sides. So just swing the left leg around the front. Swing the right leg back behind you. Give yourself a chance to set things up. And then, since this is kind of a deep stretch for both legs, That's why I'm having us start in just an upright seat before we kind of start folding. And then so whenever you want, you can start that opening and closing of the right hip. Again, your hands can go wherever you want. I'm realizing for me, it's kind of feeling nice to take my hands off the left side of the mat behind my back body here. And then just working that opening, closing, working into what that range of motion feels like today. And the hip joint is kind of a ball and socket type joint. It rotates in all kinds of different ways, but often the average human kind of just rotates it in the same one or two ways throughout the day. So this feels new, but you can almost imagine a ball and socket in your minds, and with this type of movement, you can imagine how we're rotating in all kinds of different ways. And over time, the movement and rotation of your joints in all the different ways, it's like a lubrication to that joint. It makes it smoother going forward, especially when done consistently. You can imagine the rotating of your joints as like brushing your teeth, you know? It's like maintenance that we can do to maintain mobility over the course of our lives. Just take a few more moments to move through these. Whenever you feel ready, you're welcome to take the weight over to your left leg. Adjust the legs however you want as you start to maybe fold forward into a deer pose, into your version of a half pigeon. And just being mindful of keeping your left hip grounded, if that's okay with you. Allow yourself to breathe. We have at least a minute here, so plenty of time to settle into space. I won't talk as much on this side. I'll just let us relax into it, but try to relieve tension, try to breathe fully here. We're probably coming up on somewhere around halfway there. Allow yourself to adjust as needed. Allow yourself to soften in a little bit deeper. And we'll eventually start to sit up. I was almost on the verge of falling asleep right there, to be honest with you. Sometimes there's nothing better than a good half pigeon to really just get you in a different state of mind, a different state of relaxation. So from here, we will swing both legs around in front of us. Just go ahead and extend out the legs and shake out the knees a little bit. And then from here, we're bringing the right foot in toward our inner left thigh, Janusasana. And then take a moment to fold over the space in between the legs, so kind of towards the upper right-hand corner of the mat. And then side body stretch, so you can dip your left side body a little bit and then lengthen your right side as the right hand reaches up and over. You can imagine your right hand reaching to the sky or even reaching toward the left foot, up and over. And then breathe. Direct your breath into that deep stretch you're feeling in the right side body. Feel as though your right hip was continuing to root down into the mat. There's a lot of different sensations to tune in this stretch here. Just breathe into it. You can even reach and grab the outside of your left foot with your right hand if that's feasible. And no worries if not. Just here for maybe 2 more breaths. And go ahead and release. As we sit up, we're finding a twist. So the right foot will hop up, and then the right foot will hop outside of the left knee. And then we twist to the right. So the right hand grounds behind you. Left elbow or left hand hooks around right knee. And then we kind of use that as a lever to pull ourselves into a twist. You can look to the right. You can look over your right shoulder. And imagine that your inhales lengthen the spine. Your exhales turn yourself a little deeper into your twist. Inhales lengthen. Exhales twist. Inhales lengthen. Exhales twist. Keep with the motion. And then start to unwind. Keep the legs as they are. Take a little counter twist to let some of that go. And then as you come through center, we're switching sides. Right leg extends, bounce out the knees if you want. Left foot starts to hug into the inner right thigh. Savasana. Take a moment to fold in between the legs and then tilt into your side body stretch. So get nice and long in the left side as the left hand reaches up and over. Long in the left side body. You can either just reach up or you can reach over to the front of your mat with your left hand. And then just breathe. The side bodies, I think this is one of those underrated places that a lot of people, including myself, kind of hold a fair amount of tension. But since we don't really stretch out our side bodies too much throughout normal human activities, we don't always notice some of that tension until we really take the time to try to build length into that part of our body. And then once we do, we're like, oh goodness, that area is quite tight. But that's why we're here. We have a little bit more time in this stretch just to breathe into it. Good, just another 2 breaths. We'll start to sit up. As we do so, left foot hops up, left foot hops outside of the right knee, and then twist to the left. Left hand plants behind us. The right hand can hook the left knee, the right elbow can hook the left knee, and then twist. Look over to the left, maybe even look behind you. Inhales, lengthen the spine up. Exhales, turn us into our twist. Inhales, lift up and lengthen. Exhales, turn us into our twist. Be here. Just another 2 or 3 breaths at your own pace. You're doing a beautiful job. As you start to release, take a little counter twist over to the other side. As you come through center, release the legs, shake out the knees. Bring the legs into a Baddha Konasana shape bound angle, so feet together, knees wide. And then we'll recline onto our backs in this Baddha Konasana shape. So again, feet together, knees lay out wide. If you want this to feel like a deeper stretch, or I guess not necessarily deeper, but you can change the sensation by walking your feet longer and keeping the knees wide, or walking the feet closer to your hips. So find a kind of diamond that works for you, and then maybe bring the hands to rest on the pointy hip bones. Feel the body relax. We're finally nice and safe and sound down on our backs. Breathe in. Breathe out. Maybe the eyelids close as the energy settles down into the earth. From here, we will switch the orientation of our legs by bringing our feet wide, either mat's width distance or even wider. You can kind of bring the feet a little closer to the hips, and then allow the knees to knock together toward the middle of the mat. You can just stay here. This is a nice neutral position for the back and for the low part of our spine. Or you're welcome to dip one knee, then the other in toward the middle as you kind of twist the body back and forth. And just like we were doing in that 90-90 shape, this is similarly kind of creating that internal and external rotation in the hips as we open and close. So whenever a knee dips into the middle, that's internal rotation on that hip, and vice versa. You can go through a few more rounds of this, or you can, again, just stay still with the knees knocking together. And then we'll release by extending the left leg long, hugging the right knee into the chest. There's a couple ways you can do this twist, and I'll talk you through both of them. Number one is to extend your right arm out, and no matter where you're at, you'll extend the right arm out to the right side. Option one is to bring left hand to knee, or left hand to outside of right knee to be specific, and then guide the right knee over the body into your twist. Option two, which is what I will take, is to grab the outside of your right foot with the left hand. So this one requires a little bit more hamstring flexibility, but you can always just bend your knee. So then go ahead and twist. Either way, we're guiding the right leg over the body into a twist. And then breathe. Keep both shoulders grounded down to the best of your abilities. Allow yourself to inhale and exhale completely. Direct that breath into the right side body. And we'll spend a little bit of time here. Settle in, relax yourself. Enjoy it. You deserve it. Just a few more breaths here. Adjust as you need, and then soften a little bit deeper. And then we'll start to release. Do what you need, wiggle it out between sides, and then eventually the left arm reaches out to the side. We'll grab the outside of the left knee or the outside of the left foot with the right hand, and then guide the left leg across the body into your reclined twist. Again, shoulders are grounded. The left hip will pick up because we're twisting. And then breathe into the left side body. See if you can steady yourself. Even if this doesn't feel like the craziest, deepest stretch, I promise, we're getting some nice subtle lengthening by turning our torso in a new way. You can always look over toward your left hand as well to bring the stretch into the neck and the head. Then soften into it. Allow yourself to be here. Take some breaths. Appreciate yourself for everything you are, for everything you have been, and for everything you will be. The present is such a beautiful place to be, even if life feels chaotic or not steady. Just the fact that you're here and this is the only time that you get to experience this version of the present is really beautiful. And I'm honored that you're here with me. Take several more breaths here. Ease into it. Last couple breaths. And then we'll start to release. From here, find a happy baby. If you want to shake the legs out first, feel free. For happy baby, we clasp the outside edges of our feet. We draw the knees into our armpits, and we bring the elbows to the inside of the knees. You can sway side to side. You can straighten one leg then the other. We've built some nice space today, doing it in a really casual and passive way for the most part. So enjoy this happy baby as almost the dessert, a little reward for lengthening the muscles. This feels quite nice. Take about 3 more breaths here. An alternative to this is just hugging your knees into your chest and wrapping your forearms around the knees. Either way, that's where we're all meeting after this. So whenever you're ready, go ahead and hug the knees in and then wrap the forearms around the shins or around the knees. Rock side to side on your mat. Feel all the tension, all the anxiety, all the worries just drift away, even if just for a moment. Enjoy this temporary place of peace. And then extend your legs long on your mat. Relax the arms out to your side. Feel the whole body just soften in. Feel gravity weighing down. At the same time, feel a lightness in the body. Feel the earth rising up from beneath you to cradle you, to hold you. This is a great place for you to take your savasana, for you to close your eyelids and take several minutes just to rest here, just to be. Of course, if you'd like to, you're also welcome to continue on in your practice, maybe pick another class to take, or move freely in a way that resonates with you. Either way, I'm extending a whole lot of love directly to you, from my heart to your heart. I appreciate you coming to practice today and being part of the vibe, a part of the energy. Let me know what you think. I'd love to hear your feedback. With that being said, I'll let you get back to your practice and back to your journey. Have such a blessed day, and I will absolutely be seeing you soon. Much love.